Welcome to Let Freedom Ring. I want to say before we do anything, happy opening day, MLB today. I know everybody gets very excited about baseball. It's our American pastime, so happy baseball season to everybody out there. But my guest this week, Kyle Kaplan, President Franklin, Coed Softball League. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thanks for having me back.
Yeah, no, it's been about a year, I think a
Almost
year, like yesterday.
Yeah, right.
That we had you on the show, so it was excited to get you back on. How have you been in the last year?
I've been good, everything's going pretty well. Yeah. Work,
Awesome.
Family, it's going good.
Nice. And I know are you coaching like every season now? Like it sounds like you're always coaching.
So normally, yes, this is the first basketball season that I haven't coached in forever. I was going to be coaching the middle school boys and girls team, but they ended up pulling my daughter up to varsity out of 8th grade, and so I ended up sitting back basketball season. But yet, right back into it. I got the high school coaching job, so I'm pretty excited about that.
Oh, yeah, that's totally awesome.
Yeah.
How did, because I saw your post, so she got called up from 8th grade to play with the high school kids?
Yeah, she's also going to play varsity baseball, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How does she like that? Like, because that's obviously, it's a big jump right from middle school.
Not much bothers her. I
Okay.
mean, even going from 8th grade basketball to, varsity basketball, she doesn't really have nerves much, and, she adjusts pretty well. And she hates softball, so she's much more comfortable playing with the boys in baseball. Definitely not a softball player.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, this year in the the Silver Knights in Nashua?
Yeah.
The Future Collegiate Baseball League, if I'm not mistaken, and anybody can look this up watching the show, pretty sure the Brockton Rocks are going to have a girl on their team this year.
Yeah, she played for Riv, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was actually, Kyle Jackson just came up recently to work with our pitchers for me. He coaches the Silver Knights, and we were talking about that.
Kyle, yeah. He married Rachel Jackson. I forget Rachel's actual last name. But I knew her from high school, and I was at the game. I'm like, oh, hey, Rachel, how you doing? She goes, oh, good. I go, oh, yeah, my husband's the coach.
Yeah.
I go, oh, my gosh, it's so cool.
Yeah, it's small world.
He's had a lot of, I think, they won last year. That was awesome.
Yeah, and I think he's been a part of 4 championships since he's been there. I know he was pitching coach for a long time, and, yeah, so good things over there. And it was nice to have him up, work with the kids. I think it was super beneficial for them.
Yeah.
We don't have like a bona fide pitcher. I mean, we have a couple kids that can pitch, but, it was good to work on their mechanics and see what they could do a little bit better and hear from a person that played at a high level, so that was awesome for him coming up.
Yeah, that's super cool. Silver Knight's a great time. Took my nephew to one of the playoff games. They beat the Vermont team, who was heavily favored.
Yeah.
And they went on a walk-off, and he was so excited. I'm like, yes, this is why we like sports. Get into it.
Exactly.
That's really cool. I got to ask, so what's kind of I kind of talked about it a little bit, but like how is the coaching grind? Like I've coached at the middle school level, never high school. That's got to be pretty demanding.
I mean, yes and no. I mean, for me, it's whatever I can give them, I will. We started probably two months ago, or actually it might even been longer. It was right after the official date where you could. It was in November. We started doing Sundays, not practices, but working in the weight room, throwing the ball, getting some light flight hitting in. You really can't coach because it's kind of a violation of the rules, but it just gets him in the gym and gets him working out, breaking some of the bad habits early. And then, now we had tryouts last week. A couple weeks before, we were doing like 3 days a week. So we've kind of eased into it. But I mean, I really enjoy it. It's not just about getting them practicing. We were able to get them in the weight room, an hour before each practice. So whatever I can give them to make them better players, better athletes, and better humans, and I want to be able to give that to them. I'm pretty excited. The AD just signed off on, as long as we can raise the money, going out to Cooperstown next year to play on Doubleday Field and take them to the Hall of Fame. So I think that would be awesome. I mean, Franklin's come a long way, but it's still kind of a monetarily restricted community. So to be able to give them something like this, I think would be awesome. And not to like go too deep into the show, but that's what I'm actually going to use the WSC for as a partial fundraiser for it.
Oh, nice.
So, I'm excited. I'm excited for the season. Super young team, and probably will be for this year, next year. But after that, I think we'll start having some more seniors, juniors, and in a good position to win some games.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Now, have you been to Cooperstown before?
I have not, so that would be my first.
Here's what I'm going to tell you. Make sure you save a little money, because if you're like me, you get a little impulsive there. I've been about 11, 12 times, seen some Hall of Fame inductions.
Yeah.
We might be going this year just because we like Fred McGriff, even though he's not, we like the Braves a little bit growing up.
Yeah.
But I remember we went over the summer. We're gonna leave. We're gonna just get breakfast and then hit the road. We were there for the Ortiz induction, and I see this little piece of paper that says Pete Rose is in there. I look in, and I go, Pete Rose is right in there. Yeah. I go, we got to get a picture with him. My dad at the time, who was with me and my brothers, he's like, oh, I don't know. I go, I'm going in there. And I just went in, and Bobby came with me, my brother, and I just said, I don't care. How much is a picture with Pete? They're like 70. I go, yeah, just take it. I got to do this. So
yeah.
Amazing experience. I hope you guys get to do that. And I love that. I love, when tournaments are used for that, a lot of, and this is not a rib on anybody or anything like that, but when a lot of tournaments are fund us adults to go to Florida, it's more exciting to me for kids to get a trip.
Right. Yeah, and I mean it's great that they also have that opportunity to go, go down wherever they're playing at, but it's kind of like good companies. They practice, conscious capitalism. Try to take that same approach with the league. If there's, a family we can help, or students, or, we will do everything in our power to try to do that. I mean, whether it cornhole events I've thrown, the Carry tournament this year, they've graciously allowed us to donate the proceeds to one of our league players who's battling brain cancer right now.
Okay.
And then obviously the Christmas in October, that's huge. It raises a lot of money for kids. We do that jointly with Laconia Adult Coed Softball. So anytime you can give back, I mean, I think it's a good thing,
I absolutely love that, because, whether it's, slow pitch softball, you're in a flag football league, whatever it is, these leagues in these we really have built a softball community in the state, and,
right.
And there is so much good we could do with that. A lot of like-minded people together in one place. I have to ask this, though. We're going to get into the World Softball Classic you have planned, but what are kind of the expectations for the Franklin Softball League going into this year?
A little bit different than years past. The last couple of years we've attracted a lot of bigger hitters. Really decent, good U-Trip players. Not decent, that's a poor choice of words, but, good players. This year we've lost a lot of them and cycled through them. But on the flip side, I mean, we've gained, I want to say roughly 50 to 55 new people. So I think that will kind of, in essence, this league was supposed to be just about having fun. And it has been, but I think it draws in other people that haven't had an activity. It's new to them. A lot of new faces, not necessarily that have even been in the softball community. So I think it changes the complexion of the league a little bit. Gonna miss, the guys that aren't playing, losing the Watts. They were always good, fun to be around. Brian Borelli's gone this year, focusing more on travel ball. But it's a lot of those guys played in every league that was running and trying to play tournament ball.
How are you playing it up north and in this
right,
what?
Right.
They're everywhere.
So it's understandable.
Oh,
knocked him down.
This is a sign of WrestleMania. Roman's going down. Yeah, but go ahead.
So we'll definitely miss those guys, and hopefully they'll still stick around for a lot of the tournaments. But again, a lot of new people, a lot of fresh faces. Should maybe level some of the bottom tier teams out a little bit better than they have been the last couple of years. But we've added a team this year, so we went to 10 teams this year. We're almost at sponsorship. I think I actually secured the last 2 today, so pretty excited about that. And then obviously our tournaments, the Cary tournament, the WSC, Christmas in October, and then just see where we can build upon it from there. I mean, ideally, I'd like to build more of the support aspect of the league, get more people involved, to where if we ran it 5 nights a week, I wouldn't have to be there 5 nights a week, but know that it would run the way it should. I mean, Jason Moores has stepped up really big and helped out. I mean, my wife Carrie is always right there. Last year we had a lot of high school students helping in the snack shack, so that was pretty cool. They get community service hours. They get to hang out with each other. They get, to kind of be around the adult world. So yeah, I'm excited for the new season. See how everything goes, and hopefully, like I said, build the board, get more people involved, and maybe add more teams next year.
Awesome. No, and I know, and I hear a lot of people singing your praises, and I know you do a really good job with that. I was running Nashville last year. This year, with everything going on in my life. I had to step down. Greg Kelly is going to take over, and he's doing like a draft style league, which I think I applaud Greg for taking that on, because like we had talked about it, and I was like, oh my God, how much work could this be? Have you guys ever done anything like that there?
Yeah, we're actually, so
is that what you guys do?
The last 4 years we've done, or this will be our 4th year doing the draft.
Okay.
The first year we didn't do it, and people bringing people, a lot of people grouping together type of thing. And even some of the other leagues that are local, you've had like 1 or 2 power teams that stay at the top for 5 or 6 years. And
repetitive.
Yeah, and there's always so much fun. Again, I don't want to say lower tier players, but the people that aren't in it like that can have if they're always getting slaughtered, or, if there's a little bit of chippiness because they didn't do what they were supposed to do or whatever. And again, I think this year with adding, 50 new faces or whatever, I think we kind of bring a little bit more of that back. But the draft league is, it's fun. People kind of get into the draft. They want to see the list.
I don't want to know.
They want to see the list. They want to see what's going on. But I think it does level the playing field a little bit more than, stacking a team.
Yeah, I absolutely love the idea, and I'm glad that he's taking that on. I think it's going to be good, because I had a post out like a couple weeks ago just saying it feels like softball in the city of Nashville is starting to die down. I mean, Merrimack really doesn't have much. Like, they just have the men's league, and then I guess My Social Sports coming back. So, like, most people from Merrimack, Nashville play in Nashville.
Yeah.
But I've seen a decline there, and I think Greg's on something with the draft, because I think a lot of times, and shit, I'm guilty of it too. I've been on some super teams before. It does start to push people away.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's definitely a good idea, and obviously not one that I came up with, but I definitely like the format. And again, I think it adds an element of kind of strategy to it. People get into that, I don't want to say to the level of fantasy football, but I tell you, as soon as I start announcing that there's X amount of players signed up, the coaches are, hey, you got a list yet? Like, slow down. And I don't like to give them the list. And then when I do give it to them, I don't always tell them like the players that want to be linked together.
Yeah.
So kind of that throws a little bit of a wrinkle into the way they plan on drafting. But yeah, I mean, I think it's good. I think it's fun, and overall, again, makes things a little bit more competitive.
Yeah, I love it. And a lot of people, they're like, well, people want to play with their friends. I go, man, I've been playing this was my 18th year playing. I go, all my friends are softball people at this point.
Yeah.
And a lot of people that I play with, I didn't know them before softball. So it's like, get out there, mix it up a little bit.
Right. Yeah, no, and I think that, would be a perfect topic for the WSC is, is that, you do get to kind of break out of that comfort zone, meet new people, and just go play with them and maybe not know what they bring to the table. But again, just go out and have fun. You're not expecting to win because you have this team or whatever going into the tournament. It's blind and yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. I have a quick question. We're going to talk about the World Softball Classic. Do you know? Okay, I don't know. I've been playing U-Trip for a very long time. I know nothing about. I guess I'm just not into bats.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've been on Facebook today.
The Suncoast and the Junos.
I have no idea. I think someone said I do swing Louisvilles. That's what I've always liked. So I don't even know if I don't know what's even a legal bat anymore. Yeah. Have you seen any stuff going on?
Yeah,
there?
I think Louisville only lost one bat. I mean, Juneau, it looked like their whole line was almost depleted.
Oh wow.
And then Suncoast as well. I mean, I've never swung Suncoast. I know that they used to be Adidas, and I mean that just wasn't a bat that was appealing, an Adidas bat.
Yeah,
but yeah, but I've heard mixed reviews on the Suncoast. A lot of paint errors and chipping and cracking and like then you lose your warranty like immediately. But I'm sure there's a mix between compression issues and not like submitting the bats to have them pressure test or compression tested, and at the same time where U-Trip is getting so big, I'd also say that maybe someone didn't line the right pockets. I mean, you see that like cornhole blew up, and stamped bags and this type of bag and this type of board and paying these dues. I just think maybe someone didn't send the check to the right person.
I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, I've always said that U-Trip, and as much as they're in bed with some bat companies because the bats just keep getting more ridiculous and more ridiculous. And really, end of the day, I understand frustration from people if you spend $300 on a bat and now you can't use it.
Right.
But my whole thing has always just been, in any, we're all adults, like safety is a big thing too. I mean, that's a big thing with compression. In my opinion, I don't worry about people hitting home runs. I worry about how fast the ball is coming at people.
Right. Yeah, and I mean that's a good point. I mean that's something that we had actually discussed, maybe a net in our league this year. A pitching net, but it kind of changes the complexion of things. It's still not off the table, but also I think where we lost a lot of those big bats. It's less of an accident that's going to happen, and not that those guys are all good. They pick their shots, but you swing at something that's a little bit outside or something. The next thing you know, you're up the middle and hitting somebody. Luckily, we've never had that really happen. But yeah, I mean, safety has got to be the number one concern for sure.
Totally agree. I mean, and every time I've played wooden bat, I've always had a good time.
Yeah.
It's not that big. Like, I've been to Canaan. We've played, it's mostly a lot of people from around here, but we have played like Vermont teams. That's all they know is wood bat, which was like crazy to me.
Right.
All right, I do want to talk about this because I was super excited. I saw your post like 2 weeks ago saying you want to start the World Softball Classic, and I was like, wow, Kyle, this guy's full of great ideas. How'd you come up with that?
So I can't take full credit. So I was going through, and I think Brian Norton had posted like a clip from one of the games and said, why doesn't somebody do this for softball? And it was like, all right, hold my beer. Like, I got you.
Yeah.
And so that night I, kind of did a brief post, hey, details coming soon, who would be interested. The next morning I had the field secured, drew up a little bit better, flyers for it. And then, started posting like crazy to different sites and trying to spread the word.
Yeah, no, I love it. I mean, I was loving the World Baseball Classic. I don't know about you. When the U.S. as well, too.
Well,
like
right.
We get more into it.
Right, absolutely.
But when I saw that, I was like, man, that's a great idea. Now, what do you need to be a part of this, and when is it?
So to be a part of it, you just got to want to come and play. You can reach out to me, and then I can set the person up with whoever's in charge of the team. It could, Team Canada would probably might having 2 teams, and the same thing with Team USA, and hopefully that happens. So yeah, just reach out to Franklin Adult Coed Softball. We'll get you linked up with the right people. I'll put your name on the list. and then we can go from there. As far as money, we'll do Venmo payments or whatever is convenient for people, and then we'll go from there. We have what's it? So it's the 8th and 9th of July. I also said the 7th in case it's needed, but 10 to 12 teams. I think it's safe to have that in 2 days and play full games and not have to rush through things, churn and burn. To still have full games and have it be fun. And then the ethnicity. I mean, or a nationality. Everybody could play for Team America. I mean, most people. So it's like I'd rather see like the mixed, mixed people, or the mutts, that they call themselves, where they're a ton of races, or they don't really identify with one, or nationalities. Have them play for Team USA, and then the other people, whether you celebrate your holiday, St. Patty's Day for me, it's for the guy with the Dominican flags on his rearview mirror, the Canadian tattoo on him. Like, it's go represent your nationality, your roots. And again, pull yourself away from maybe the core people you normally play with, meet some new people, and get some different people up there from other areas.
Yeah, no, I absolutely love that. And someone did say, like, on one of the comments, they were like, well, I would be Team USA. I'm like, we all would.
Well, right.
Right. It's kind of...
Yeah, and that's why I had to kind of add that post, like, hey, guys, I know we all could play for them, but you just sent me a message 5 minutes ago that says you're English, Scottish, and it's like, okay, well, you could play for Ireland UK team.
See, the team we're coming up with, and my brother, I had to tell my brother Tim, he does the Poutine Fest. He's really into the French-American Canadian, Franco-American. He's part of the Franco-American Center. Wow. I'm jumbled right now. There's so many different parts, but he's so like, because he saw the maple leaf flag, and he goes, "We're not going." I said, "No, we don't have to wear that. We'll represent Quebec," and So what I'm trying to get some players from there.
Yeah,
could be more difficult than I thought.
Yeah,
but we're just trying to find people with French Canadian descent.
Yeah, right.
So I think that's going to be so much fun. I really can't wait.
Well, you guys definitely have the truest team as far as last names.
Yes. Yeah. We got LaPointe, we got Bollier, we got, who else do we have on there already? I can't remember. But it's going to be a good time. How many teams do we have so far?
Team Canada, USA, the Ireland, UK team, the Caribbean, so like DR, Puerto Rico. And I think in total 6 so far. And again, several people reached out about doing like a second USA team, and they would be the captain. Actually, I think Andrew Watt had volunteered to take the second team.
If Andrew stacks up a team of Americans, that's
Well, I know he messaged Kamara, and I was sending Kamara. I'm like, what's your nationality?
Yeah.
And the first one he listed was Irish, and I was like, so if you play, you're playing with me.
Yeah, there you go. Like, come on, like even I'm French Canadian, I'm Irish, I'm Italian. There might be some Native American thrown in there too. So it's like, come on, guys, let's
right.
We all, that's too funny. Again, I'm super excited about this. Now, how is it going to work? Because this is what I was kind of wondering. Are we going to be doing some pool play type stuff?
Well, I'm hoping to, yeah.
Okay.
A couple play-in games. Let's kind of see where people end up seeding and then going into it. And I think with 10, that's a much, or even 6 to 10 in that area, it'll be much easier to do that than if we were to garner like 15 to 18 teams. I know. For Christmas in October, I think we have 20-ish teams.
Oh, wow, okay.
And it is really much churn and burn. It's still super fun. It's just a lot of, flipping the field really quick, raking it, finding umpires for the next game, flipping coins to pick home and away. So there's just a lot of pressure to kind of stay on time. But I think we could probably do something like that and still fit it in and not feel rushed.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you do allow, like you said, it might be 2 days. I'll get a hotel up in the Franklin area. That'd be great.
Well, even if I have to, at that time it will be kind of camping season. We did get Franklin's approval for Christmas in October for people to camp and tent down there.
Oh wow!
So last year, we had a few campers, a few people that tented. It's a little bit cooler for the tenters in October. But yeah, I think I could swing something like that with the city. They've been really good with us and understanding, and at the same time, we haven't given them a reason to not trust us.
Yeah.
So I definitely look at something like that too.
Yeah, that's actually really cool.
Yeah.
Couldn't do that in Nashua. Couldn't do that in Merrimack.
Yeah.
So, any special rules that are going to go into this? Anything?
I would say not right now. Maybe we could add a couple things. There'll be the normal stuff. Safety plate or a safety bag at first. Our league does a safety plate with a commit line. And we do an outfield line that men can't encroach on. Women can play the F10 position and roam in that area, but nothing, stuff that most leagues do. Unless I think of something creative between now and then that I want to throw in there. Maybe, again, I don't want it to make it about money or anything, but, most of the tournaments we've done, we've, $10 for 10 home runs or something. Mm-hmm. But with wood bat, I don't know how many people are going to be, putting it over the fence that often. But yeah, we'll see. Yeah,
no, I'm really looking forward to it. And I would say to anybody out there, get out of your comfort zone. You don't have to be Team USA. I know it's going to happen. We know that.
Right,
but get out of your comfort zone a little bit. And what I would also say is if you're watching this episode and you are interested, obviously you can get a hold of Kyle, Franklin Softball League. If you don't know where to find that information, reach out to me and I will get you Kyle's information in the league. So, and just thinking on the softball tournament, the topic, have a couple other things. How do you feel like everything's kind of going in the state of New Hampshire for softball right now, like going into this year?
Again, different complexion than prior years. I think, a lot of the younger players are starting to shift towards, even a lot of them have gotten away from modified. Mm-hmm. They're slow pitch, but they've really gone heavy into U-trip and tournament ball and tournament play, and just that super competitive aspect. And that's great for them. And then, hopefully like the Borellis and stuff, they one day when they're a little bit older and things don't bend the way they should, they come back and find Franklin or the other leagues that they participated in. But I think there's a lot of players that have kind of defected to tournament ball heavy and maybe had to make choices on the recreational leagues that they play in, cut that back. So
yeah, because I was going to ask that. Do you think, because I'll give you my take on what I've seen in Nashua, but do you think tournaments are taking away from leagues a little bit?
I think so, for sure. Even last year with a lot of the ones that had started playing tournament ball heavy, Thursday and Friday night games, it wasn't a guarantee that they were going to be there, because they were traveling here or traveling there. So I do think it has an effect on the leagues, the league play, the numbers, and kind of taking away from the local leagues. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I definitely see that as a thing going into this year. But again, they're looking for something that we really can't offer. Or if we did, we kind of alienate the people that have been part of the league for 4 or 5 years now, that aren't, the most competitive people or just really want to hang out down there, have fun, see the people they haven't seen in since last year. So I think it's a mixed bag. It's, again, we'll miss those type of players, and hopefully they'll cycle back around at some point. But we just can't offer what they want, and we're not offering them trips to Florida to go play in the dead of winter or Myrtle Beach, where some of them are right now. But there's just a lot of tournaments too, a lot of them.
There definitely is, and I'm still, I still do tournaments and stuff, I'm not the level of like a Borelli or
Yeah.
anything like that, But I gotta say, like, what I ran into with the Sunday League was like, we're all grown-ups and we only have so much time.
Right.
And when people go to tournaments on Saturdays, to get them to go play in the league on Sunday is like pulling teeth.
Right.
So it's a big commitment when they're doing the tournaments too.
Oh yeah, huge, and not only just from that aspect, but they're also out there hustling, trying to do fundraisers and raise money to get to these tournaments. So, time where they might be able to play in rec leagues, they're running cornhole tournaments, they're raffling off grills, and they're having a hustle to cover what they need to go to the tournaments.
There's just so many moving pieces to it. Any players to watch this year in Franklin?
Sam Borelli stayed with us.
Okay.
So Sammy's still going to play with us. But other than that, I don't know. It will be fun to see because there's a lot of unknowns. I think some of Andrew Watt's family are playing, like cousins and stuff.
Okay.
I don't know if they ball like him. I think they're a little bit older than he is, so we'll see how it goes. But and Landry, another big bat, great kid. He's sticking around, so he's always one to hit the ball 500 feet.
Yeah. Where'd these kids come from? I feel like I blinked and all of a sudden I'm like, who are these kids? Like,
they live next to the power lines.
Yeah.
Drinking that city water.
See, we need more of that in our area. Like last year, I think one of the only big standouts of a young player was Mason Linscott. He was one of the only people I can think of. And I said that was another issue that Nashua is having, is that we're not getting these younger players coming in.
Yeah.
Like it used to be.
Yeah.
And, it's hard to keep leagues when you don't get them.
Well, we're trying to combat that a little bit. Last year we started to, the prior years we were very much against younger players playing in our tournaments. But where we had pretty much gone all wood bat for guys, we started letting some youngers play. Like my daughter and son played that. My daughter was 14, my son 15. Some of the baseball players that I've coached, they came and played. Lily, who plays, national level softball. Peyton is another one. Bryson, national level softball. Zoe Torog played in one of the tournaments. So trying to involve them, get them now, and most of them were all gung-ho to play in the Kerry tournament this year, and like, we're going to do the team again, right?
Yeah.
We're going to do the team again. So, trying to capture some of that. So hopefully the people that stay around in the area, they have that as an option, and they've already kind of built some relationships because they've played with these adults, past couple of years, and just that, for me, playing with my kids has been huge. Coaching them for so long. You don't really have to coach them when you're playing slow pitch softball. It's like you just go out there, you breathe, relax, and it's just it's fun, and you can just let them go have fun, and just playing with them it was awesome.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I love to see that. Like, and we've talked about the Borellis again because the Ken plays and everything like that. It's like it's really cool to see that. So. You got a fan question here from Jesse DeLay, former guest of the multiple guests of the show. He says, "Greeting and salutations. I was wondering if Team Ireland will be getting jerseys for the WSC. I also may call dibs on first base coach."
Well, if he wants first base coach, he's got it. We'll sign him to that contract right now.
He wants the easy base coach.
Yeah, I know, right. The no stress.
Yeah.
You can't steal. Just watch the ball. Yeah. So as far as jerseys, I did reach out to Big Dog. They're somebody that D. He's worked with us the past couple of years. Andrew Watt put me onto him a couple of years ago. He's treated us well. So I did reach out to him and said, hey, is there like a generic jersey that we could do and then slap a new, a team name on it where you don't have to pay multiple design fees, just as an option. Or, we could go gung-ho and every team gets a jersey, does their own thing, or come up with again, a design that's universal, that looks cool, that everybody be okay with. But I would say yes, definitely for Team Ireland, we'll do something, whether it's a joint venture with the other teams or just us. Yeah, you'll get a jersey.
This is going to be, I think the jersey is going to be like some of the most fun part of this.
Right. Well, I'm a nerd with that, like designing logos and then coming up with like jersey patterns and sending it to him. I mean, I know that like last year his designer was like, well, it's already all designed. It's like, okay, well, just put it together for me. Here's the idea. Here's all the logos. But I find that it's fun, and it's to have kind of a fresh looking league and not like T-shirts that just say, Franklin on them or something.
Yeah.
It's just sublimation is awesome to me. It's I like it.
I agree. I mean, I have too many softball jerseys at this point, but like, man, it's come a long way since when I first started playing.
Right.
I have a few sports questions for you. You been taking in any of this Lamar Jackson stuff? You think he's going to end up somewhere?
I think.
Oh, he's going to end up somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, I think they're going to have to do something with him, or maybe he sits out the year. As far as obviously there's been ties to the Bucks and New England. I think he's a good quarterback. I think he's I don't know if he's elite. I think he's a really good quarterback, but my concern with him is if he came to the Patriots, he's a running quarterback. They usually have a shorter shelf life. They start racking up injuries, missing games, and you don't necessarily know how they're going to be if you take that running aspect away. I mean, defenses can game plan for it, or you just let them run and get hurt. But I think he's a great athlete. He's got a super strong arm, pretty smart kid. I wouldn't hate it if he came to the Patriots. I mean, I'm not sold on Mac Jones. I'm just
I support Mac. It's a hard thing, because he needs the offensive coordinator.
Right. Yes.
So like last year, it's like okay. I said this off air to Justin, I think last week, where I said I've always been that in Belichick we trust.
Right.
And I remember when it was Patricia was going to be the offensive coordinator, I went, no, but Belichick has a plan.
Right.
No, he didn't.
No. Just like it was. I mean, it was almost like maybe Matt Patricia said something to him that he didn't like, and he's like, "Yeah, you can come back, but you're the offensive coordinator, and then we'll see if you have a job the year after." I didn't understand that last year. I don't understand it this year. Why did we go that route? But yeah, so I mean, maybe it's unfair. Maybe he didn't have the right weapons around him. But I just, with the first year he had, I just expected a lot more out of him. Last year, and he just kind of, I don't know. He has that air of arrogance and that's never. I don't know.
People call him whiny.
Yeah.
He shows his emotion a lot. I got to say, I mean, Josh McDaniels is a damn good offensive coordinator because, I mean, there was a point during Mac's first year where all of a sudden, and I know these were just like some hot takes, but the Patriots looked really good for a minute there.
Oh, yeah.
And this year, like at no point in the season was like, this is a good team.
No. I mean, defensively they had some highlights and some strengths, but offensively it was like, so tough to watch. I mean, it was just so tough to watch.
It was, we've been spoiled, so it's like, our time was coming.
Right.
Still,
Yeah.
Have you been watching any of the XFL at all?
I have caught some of the games. I mean, it from what I've seen, I like it. I mean, it's, not necessarily the NFL, but I like it. And I hope it catches on. I really do. I know the fans have been a little rough. Somebody was taking pictures from the stadium the other day, and they force them all to one side because the cameras are all on one side.
Yeah.
So it makes it look fuller than it really is. Everybody could sit on the first level and be watching the game. But I mean, it's not as corny as it was prior.
With McMahon's first 2020 was pretty good.
Yeah.
The pandemic happened.
Right.
It depends. Like St. Louis is selling out their stadium. They want football back.
Yeah.
DC, I'm a Defenders fan. I was even going into 2020. I was like, they're the closest. That's not New York. Is how I picked them.
Yeah.
And my buddy lives in the area, and they got the beer snake. that's going.
Right.
I think
right.
I was at the very last game before all hell broke loose with the pandemic, and that was the first game of the beer snake.
Oh.
And now they have all these rules that they have to follow to keep the bear snake, or the leagues tell them they can't do it anymore.
Right. Yeah, I did see that the other day. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I think it's a good idea. You know, you get to showcase other people or people that have played in the past. You know, but there's talk of using it as developmental league and getting that's the NBA G League. I think that's fun to watch. Maine Celtics, I know they seem to pack that place.
Yeah. That's a good place to watch something.
Yeah. So I think it's overall it's a good thing.
Yeah, I 100%. I really enjoy it. I put on a lot of those games even when the defenders aren't playing. I love football, and I think they do it at the perfect time because the other league, the USFL, they haven't started yet. Now we're going into baseball at this point. Doing it right after the Super Bowl, genius. To
Right.
me. Any high hopes for the Red Sox this year?
What's your definition of high hopes? I mean, 72 to games?
Maybe not be last.
Right. I think on the high side, they're 72 to 79 wins, but I would even say that's probably the high side. I don't know. Their pitching is just, I think, their Achilles heel. I think they could probably play pretty decent small ball, but it's not a power hitting team. If Yoshi can take advantage of the pesky pole and short porch over there,
I'm excited for him.
Yeah, I mean, I think that could be a positive thing. I mean, Devers is going to do him, but yeah, I don't have. I mean, my heart says 95.
Yeah.
My head says 70 to 79, 72 to 79. At best.
I keep telling people, like, yeah, well, remember 2013? We were terrible in 2012, and everybody thought they were going to be bad in 2013. What happened? We won the World Series. They're like, come on.
Right.
That is not the same talent pool.
Right.
But I'm still going to milk that.
Yeah.
I want to get into this huge weekend this weekend. It's WrestleMania weekend, which is like a holiday for me. Now it's a 2-day holiday. It used to just be a one.
Yeah.
Do you have a top 5 WrestleMania moments?
Yeah. I'm old and haven't watched wrestling often lately, but Hogan Giant, I remember watching that with my dad. That brings back good memories.
That was like the passing of the torch. I know Hogan was champion, but no one had ever done that to Andre.
Right. And just such an iconic picture in wrestling, just him scooping up and picking him up. I'd say a Hogan Warrior. I mean, and that was always tough for me as a little kid because I liked both. And it was like your two superheroes going at it. Michaels, Bret Hart.
Iron Man match,
Yeah. Stone Cold Rock. It's kind of like Stone Cold's coming out party, first time around. And then maybe HBK and Stone Cold. I was a sucker for Stone Cold too. I mean, Hogan and Stone Cold, not that they could do no wrong, Hogan was a terrible wrestler. But you were a kid,
He actually, have you ever seen him wrestle in Japan? They showed some of his Japan matches. I go, oh, that lazy bum. He would adapt to the Japanese style of wrestling,
and then come here
and come back,
and just throw the boot up.
Yeah.
All right, I'll have to go back and look at some of that. But yeah, those are probably mine. Again, they're all old, but probably some of my funnest memories. Or I mean the 3-way ladder match, Dudley's, Hardy's, and Edge and Christian. That was a pretty good match.
That was one of the craziest things that I had ever seen at that time, and I watched some ECW, and then I'm like, okay, so now they're just, because that was the initially, that's before they had the TLC matches, right? Where they called them the tables, ladders, and chairs matches. They just went out and did it, and I think the rematch was at SummerSlam, and they were just like, wow, we really got something with these 3 teams.
Right.
But I do agree with you. It went, when I go back, because I'm doing a live stream later tonight. I do a WrestleMania show every year, and this was pretty much the only night I could do it. when I go back, because I like during WrestleMania week, I like to watch a lot of old stuff, and I go back like a lot of the stuff. There's been a lot of good things that have happened, but like there's something about the nostalgia of when you were a kid, when you first started watching it, that can't be replicated later. You know.
Yeah, and I think as you get older too, like you find out like more that it, the scripted and not real and stuff like that. And again, for me, it was more about like moments, moments with Dad, with my brothers and sisters. And then as you get older, I haven't shared wrestling with my kids much. I mean, we were more into like UFC and MMA. But my daughter, like, she'll occasionally, if she's flipping through and sees wrestling, she'll watch the girls beat each other up.
Yeah.
And, so she gets into that. I mean, she liked Ronda. She watched Ronda when she fought MMA.
And women's wrestling has come. It is not like when we were kids at all. It's awesome.
Right. Yeah. I mean, back then it was just, TNA and
bra and panties matches, degrading stuff. That
right. Edge and Lita, was it, in the bed there and the ring, and so it's definitely come a long way, and they're more wrestlers now, but yeah, for me it was a lot of the family time and stuff, and I'll be honest, I haven't gone back much. I've always been afraid that if I do, it will ruin. It's like watching a movie that you grew up loving, and then you watch it as you're older, and you're like, man, that movie was terrible. Like, I remember liking RoboCop when I was younger. Yeah. And then I watched it, my kids one day, and they were like, you like this movie? And I'm like, oh, man, I'm going to go run and hide. I wanted to cry. It was terrible.
I think a lot of stuff does stand the test of time, because wrestling has changed so much, right? False finishes are like the big thing, and you got AEW, and they got everything. We got to have a 5-star classic every single time.
Right.
I don't think that's necessary. I think a lot of stuff that Hogan was doing was what needed to be done. Like, I watched one match. It was supposed to be possibly his last match. He faced Sid Justice at WrestleMania 8. In the Hoosier Dome, every punch he threw, every step he took, that crowd was on their feet going, that's all he had to do.
Right.
Hogan didn't have to do anything crazy.
Right.
Because his character was so good that they just wanted him to be the Hulk, and that's all he had to do.
Well, even the Andre the Giant match, what was there, 93,000 people?
Yeah.
In the Silver Dome. Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of people in there, and it just.
Well, in the other, I went back and watched WrestleMania 18 because it was him and The Rock.
Yeah.
And The Rock's in his prime, and Hogan is the heel. He's the NWO Hogan. He just returned. And everybody in Toronto turned on The Rock and cheered Hogan.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to me because I know Terry Bollea, we say this all the time on the show, Terry Bollea is not a good person. But Hulk Hogan, to me, is the greatest wrestler of all time.
Yeah.
And not just, we've had this argument, his matches. I go, so did Stone Cold.
Yeah.
So did The Rock. So did Flair. But, he literally had that crowd in the palm of his hand, and he put wrestling. If you didn't have, the MTV, the Rock and Wrestling Connection, I know a lot of that's McMahon, right?
Right.
But he had to have that guy in that time to make wrestling mainstream like it is today.
Right.
So, anyways, I could go on. Everybody knows that. We're rooting for Cody Rhodes this weekend, if you can't tell by all the Cody Rhodes on the table. Do you have any favorite title changes that happened at Mania before we go into buy or sell?
Yeah, I'd say probably Savage over Flair.
Yes. I wish I was the main event.
Yeah, right. Hogan over Yokozuna.
Oh, yeah.
After
I love that, too. People crap on that all the time. I loved it as a kid.
Yeah, right. And I'd probably say, was it Austin over The Rock, right? The whole Vince McMahon.
When, 17?
Yeah.
Yeah, when he finally made the deal with the devil there.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, it's those are probably my most memorable, or the ones that I like, or even the triple threat, not ladder match, at that time.
Yeah.
With Edge and Christian coming out with the belt.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
Yeah.
That really, I was on the edge of my seat that whole match. I remember that.
I always liked ladders. Razor Ramon and Shawn Michaels. That for me was like still one of my favorite matches, just period. that's probably one that I'd go back and watch again.
Yeah, that was like the first time they did a ladder match on like I don't think there had been a ladder match on a pay-per-view before that.
Right, yeah.
Like they'd done them at house shows, but I think that was the first time.
Right.
And yeah, and then they just kept getting more wild with it. Now let's bring in the tables.
Right.
Now tables are totally overblown.
Right,
like,
right,
you know,
right,
but all right, I want to get into this. Buy or sell. I do have some wrestling ones, which maybe you might not be as familiar with just because it was WrestleMania. I don't know how much you've seen, though. Buy or sell. Are you aware of Sami Zayn at all?
Yeah.
Would buy or sell?
Sell.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sell.
Familiar with the Bloodline at all?
That's what's his name?
Roman.
Yeah.
The Usos.
Yeah.
Soa Sikoa. Sammy got kicked out.
Right.
He was not really in the Bloodline.
Right. Well, didn't he like hit Roman with a chair or something?
Yeah. So basically, like the story was, they beat the hell out of Kevin, like to the point of like Kevin Owens was like dead.
Yeah.
You know, if a super kick was real, he took about 90 of them.
Yeah.
So, and he was handcuffed as he's taking these, you know, and that's where he kind of turned, and then they kicked him out.
Yeah.
Basically, Roman wanted Sammy to murder him on live television.
Well, I mean, I'd sell that as a bad decision, but I'd put some viewers.
All right, so Mania is taking place in LA. Would you buy or sell having WrestleMania in Los Angeles?
Oh man, I sell. I think maybe too many stars would come out. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not like I don't like that. You know, I like
The Hollywood?
Yeah, the whole full floor being taken up by people that really don't care about wrestling.
Yep.
I mean, again, I haven't watched it in forever, but there are plenty of purists that, you know, could be getting those tickets and lose out on it. But I know you also, you know, you got to have your cam shots and your cutaways to the famous people. So, but I don't know. Is Los Angeles a big wrestling?
They've had it there before. I guess this time it's going to be in I forget what. Wow, I don't even know the stadium's name off the top of my head. They've had it in the Staples Center before.
Yeah.
I believe. And now, yeah, because that was WrestleMania in 2005. So now they're only doing stadiums, really.
Right.
What I do find is the craziest thing about what happens now is you do get all the diehards. It's all the diehard fans and some others sprinkled in.
Yeah.
But what they do is they buy this one ticket and they go to the Hall of Fame, they go to this, they go to that, and they stay for Raw, and they've hijacked the shows over, like, it hasn't been happening as much.
Yeah.
But, like, they'll randomly start chanting Randy Savage when it has nothing to do with what's going on in the ring, you know?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, well, I guess that stinks as well. So that one ticket gets them in for.
So there's like certain packages,
Yeah,
right? Because
yeah.
2 nights of Mania, Hall of Fame. I think you get a ticket to SmackDown. I think you get a ticket on one of these to NXT, Stand and Deliver.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out to Carmelo Hayes. We're hoping you win the title, representing New England. And then you get the 2 nights of WrestleMania, and then Raw.
Yeah.
That's a lot of freaking wrestling.
Yeah, it's a lot of wrestling. Right. A lot of wrestling.
Gonna ask this one more, and then we get some other stuff. Cody Rhodes, buy or sell?
Buy. I like Cody Rhodes. I mean, I did see that. What did Roman say to him about you left the company
because you couldn't get over? Yeah,
right. I mean, so I'd like to see him just win for that reason. You know,
the story's so good because Dusty never won the WWE, or he went for the WWF title, never got it.
Yeah.
Even though all the other things he'd done in wrestling. His brother Goldust, he never got it. Dustin
Right.
Reynolds, who has blocked me on Twitter. We've talked about this. All it was a costume of him. I apologize. I don't think I had to, but I did, and he liked it. So I don't know. He liked it on Facebook, so I guess we're cool. But no, it is. It's the history of the Rhodes family and the whole story about how they wouldn't let him stop being Stardust, and he just said, "All right, I'm leaving."
Right.
And the thing about Cody is he came around. He went. I'm a big independent wrestling fan. He went to the Elks lodges and
Right.
wrestled for fans with 50 people there.
Right.
You know, it's an amazing story, and I can't wait. World Baseball Classic.
Buy it. I really like it. I mean, I don't want to say I wish they'd do away with the All-Star game, but maybe seeing people at their peak and working that into the middle of the season, even if it costs baseball 10 games. You know, I don't, but I like it. You know, it's fun. This year was awesome. You know,
Yeah, the last couple.
I mean, the ending of it. I mean, you know, but I mean, he was throwing gas. I mean, you know, people crapping on Trout. It's like
I don't know how he was. Yeah, he had his number.
Well, right.
A lot of people. I will say this though. I noticed this is, you know, I love, and I'm guilty of it too. I've been trying not to do that, especially in sobriety, where I'm not, you know, drunk on my Facebook, messaging about every sport happening.
Right.
But so many people were giving up in the 5th inning.
Yeah.
I was like, come on, guys. Like, there's still a lot of baseball to be played here.
Right.
It didn't work, but, you know.
Right. Yeah.
Lamar Jackson.
Just as a quarterback or
As a player in the NFL, would you want, you know, we kind of talked about it, but if you were a franchise, buy or sell?
I'd buy. Yeah. I think you can do a lot worse.
That's
you
true.
can do a lot worse.
In a league where it's hard to find quarterbacks.
Well, right.
Draft league softball leagues.
Buy. Yeah, I mean, I think they're, again, kind of levels that playing field. The draft process, if you handle it right, is fun. And, yeah, definitely buy.
All right, last one, and this is the guy I'm really excited for with the Red Sox this year, Masataka Yoshida. Did I say that all right? I think I did, right? Okay, I was worried about it. Buy or sell? What you've seen?
Buy, and because I'm a Sox fan. I mean,
okay.
I mean, again, you know, there's been comments about how will he do against, you know, velocity. But again, I think if he, you know, he can figure it out, and that pesky pole, that short porch, you know, I think he could utilize that to his advantage. So I'm buying.
I am too, and I just off the World Baseball Classic. I mean, that's all I have is that.
Right.
So I'm thinking about getting that shirt. We'll see. But anyways, Kyle, this has been a blast.
Hey, thanks
We're
for
gonna
having
have
me
you back again. Yeah, no, it's always fun having you on the show. So good luck with the season and everything. Again, if you are interested in the World Softball Classic, you can reach out to Kyle. If you need his info, you can reach out to me as well. But everybody out there, have a wonderful week. Keep your heads up. Until next time, let freedom ring.